Everyone, this is Mark at Studica. Today I'm going to be talking about a program we offer called Skanect. Skanect is a 3D scanning software that uses the Microsoft Kinect sensor to basically render a real-world object into a 3D model. You can then do whatever you want with the 3D model, including 3D print it. This is something that we do offer with the DaVinci 1.0 3D printer on our website at studica.com. So I have a Kinect hooked into my computer, and you can actually see up here it recognizes Kinect for Windows sensor. I also have a graphics card that's going to use for rendering. So this is the main menu. I'm going to go ahead and use these default settings to create a new file. You can specify a config file if you have a need for more specific settings, but mine's going to be real basic. So once I hit start, we're going to be brought to the main viewport, and you can actually see the Kinect is monitoring right now. You can see the webcam and the infrared view, and then this big old gray area here is going to show the actual the depth and the color that the Kinect is picking up for the model. So you'll see that once I actually start it. Now what I have up here is a delay and a limit item. The delay is basically a countdown until the sensor starts recording, and then the limit is how long you want the recording to go on. So I'm just going to set 15 seconds. What I'm going to end up doing is, I find the easiest way to use this is to basically sit at my chair and start the recording and then spin around like this, and it's going to grab all that data of me turning around, and it should make a pretty good looking 3D model, hopefully. So down here you can basically see like what the Kinect is saying right now. And as I turn my head, you can see certain things fill out. Now this isn't going to be perfect. My room's kind of dimly lit, but we should get a pretty good model out of this. So what I'll go ahead and do is I'm going to hit record. You're going to see it count down, and then you'll see the viewfinder pop up. So now I can go ahead and start turning. You kind of want to do it at a decent pace. If you go too quickly, the sensor will mess up. So here I am doing this, and I'll kind of rotate back a little bit just so it can get all that info. And then it's going to start processing the mesh. And there we go. We have something very rough. Now I know it's less than perfect. My hair right here didn't quite fill in. My shoulders have holes in them. And my arms are sort of just, who knows what. They're morphing into nothingness. Now again, I think this is an issue with my room. It's very dimly lit in here, and so I think the sensor is missing some of this data, but that's besides the point. This is very basic. So what you can do now is go to the Reconstruct tab, and you can use this thing called Fusion, which will do an offline reconstruction, basically using the data that it's collected. And I'm going to use my GPU to process this. I'm going to choose a high fidelity. I'm going to hit run. And it's going to go back through the data it just picked up, you can see here, and it's going to try and just sort of fine-tune the model a little bit. What I've read is that the green indicates color and the red indicates depth for the Microsoft Kinect. So that's the sort of data it's picking up. It's going to apply that, and then it's done. Just looks a little bit nicer, not too noticeable, but it adds a little bit more detail to the textures. Then you can go to the Process tab, and this is kind of where the bulk of everything happens. First of all, the main thing here is you want to make your mesh watertight. You don't want to 3D print anything that's not watertight, because it will be completely messed up, or it just won't print right. So there's fortunately something built in for creating a watertight mesh here. I'm going to choose medium on the smoothing, because when I do high, it looks a bit too smooth, and low ends up making the file size ridiculously large because it maintains a lot of kind of the bump mapping about the texture. So I'm going to leave it on medium and hit run. And you'll see it's going to run these processes down here, filling the holes in. So there we go. You can see my hair filled in, my shoulders filled in. It's going to colorize everything, and it's going to colorize the filled in areas as well. And now we sort of have this mesh, and it doesn't, my hair looks a bit ridiculous. Of course, my head doesn't have a crater in it, but kind of just the limitations I have to work with. It actually filled my arms in a little better. I can actually make out my fingers even if it looks a bit absurd. You can also move and crop things if you want. I'm basically just going to leave this as it is, and I'll end up probably printing that out. Now, once you have this model, I can go into share, and you can save the file locally. You can export the model out as like an OBJ, PLY, VRML, STL. You can choose how many faces you want, what the scale is. You can also upload right to the website Sketchfab, which I don't really use, but this actually makes it very easy. You can also upload to Sculptio. I'm just going to export the STL file out with a millimeter scale. I'm just going to go on my desktop and hit test, and save. And it's saved to disk, and then what I can do is open up XYZware, which comes with the DaVinci 1.0 3D printer. And I'm going to go ahead and hit import, and I'm going to choose test.stl. And it imports my model at a gigantic scale, so I'm just going to like narrow that all the way down to 5% because I don't need a large model. There we go, that's fine. 34 essentially on the millimeters. But you can see it down here. Zoom in a bit. It is my model, it's what it turned out. Now, if I want to 3D print this, I hit print, and I have my DaVinci hooked up right now. And I'm going to choose excellent build quality. I'm going to turn supports off because I noticed the slicer doing some weird stuff earlier. And then I'm going to hit print, and what this is going to do is it's going to start the DaVinci slicer. Alright, so the slicer is done slicing, and this is what we end up with. Thank you for watching. Check us out at Studica.com.